Hi everyone, take 2 of this video. Check it out everyone, this is where most people in New Zealand get their milk and dairy and cheese from. This is the dairy factory here in Hokitika. It frickin' stinks. It smells like crap. Don't know what's coming out of that. I just feel like having a little bit of a rant today and share a few of my views on the way that New Zealand's approaching its ecology, basically. But they've only just planted a few little trees there. Jeez. Can't polish a turd, guys. Anyway, at least it's something. Any tree's a good tree. Which is something that most New Zealanders wouldn't agree. In New Zealand, if a tree is not native, it's a pest. Or pest. Pest, they would say in New Zealand. And personally, I think this whole place is a big old pest. I'd love if they sprayed that and poisoned it. But trees like this is a broom. Farmers hate this tree. Looks a bit like gorse actually, but probably related. And wherever you find open ground, that tree thrives because it's a pioneer species. So when a farmer comes along and clears a whole, it stinks. I'm not sure what that thing is, but it stinks. Yuck. It smells like sewer. Anyway, yeah, so the broom will grow anywhere. If a farmer comes along and clears an area, if there are any seeds in the ground, they're going to pop up and they're going to thrive. And of course people hate that because farmers and such like want grass and they don't want that stuff, so they go around and they spray the crap out of it all. Here we go. Here's a little baby cherry tree. There's heaps of cherry trees along here. They must have self-seeded somehow. And potentially, probably Doc would consider that a pest as well. If it's self-seeding and it's not native, it's a pest. But I heard something that a permaculture, someone quite high up in permaculture called Jeff Lawton, a lot of people might know who he is. He said all plants are native to the planet, because someone was having a go at him for planting non-native species in Australia. There's another cherry seedling there. And he said, yeah, all plants are native to the planet. And I think what he was trying to say is, if we want to save this planet by growing more trees and sequestering carbon and, you know, making use of these wastelands, look at all that space in there just not doing anything, then we should use whatever trees we can. Those broom trees are awesome trees, because if you were to plant a tree that would grow larger than a broom would generally get about 3 meters tall. You could plant them within the broom or the gorse. The gorse is the same situation. And within 20 years, the gorse or the broom will be outcompeted, and it would have helped to accelerate the growth of those trees. So when you look at it from an ecological point of view, it can only be a good thing. Of course, you can manage the gorse quite easily. Most people here on the coast, you mention gorse and they grit their teeth and look like they're going to vomit. Ah, bloody gorse. No bloody gift for anything. Well, I beg to differ. It's kept me warm all winter for free. And it's growing heaps of my fruit trees for me. It's sheltering them, and it's a windbreak. And if you do want to get rid of it, which is inevitable, you will want to get rid of some of it. Oh, that's a podo. This tree grows a small fruit, which is a little bit like a mini tamarillo, or a guava maybe. And yeah, so I think the gorse is pretty good, and I think spraying it is stupid really, because once you spray it, it will die, and then guess what? The next year it grows straight back again. My favourite way of eliminating gorse is basically cut it as close to the ground as you can, and then cover the stump, and then it will die that way, because without any light it will not grow back. So someone's planted a few flaxes along here by the looks of it, but there's a humongous cherry tree here. No one would have planted that, I bet you. And there's actually little cherry seedlings all around here. This is a self-made food forest. No one's made this. All that's happened here is people have left it. This is a derelict piece of land. No one cares about this piece of land. And the biodiversity in here is awesome. There's heaps of trees. Heaps of different species of trees is what I'm trying to say. I'll show you over this way. There's something pretty cool. All of this stuff covers quite a lot of the ground here. As long as it's in the shade, this stuff will grow. This is called wandering dew, which probably isn't the most appropriate name. Fortunately, I can't remember what the other names for it are, so hopefully that doesn't offend anyone, but that's what it's called, wandering dew. And if you show this to a dock person, they'd probably faint from the vastness of this pest, and then get some of their boys out to spray the crap out of it. So I won't be telling anyone about it. But despite this major New Zealand pest, if you look at this on the internet, look it up, it's all bad. But the trees don't seem to mind. There's some kind of little sapling. I'm not sure if that's native. There's not just the wandering dew growing here, there's heaps of other stuff. And would you believe it, here's a sofa someone dumped here. This is just a derelict piece of land. People dump all their crap here. And there's a freaking cherry tree growing right in the middle of it. Actually several cherry trees. You've got your ferns, there's pungas growing, heaps of natives. All of these trees are natives. This place is thriving. It's doing well. There's ferns growing in amongst all the wandering dew. I guess what I'm trying to say is, I think people just need to change their outlook on things. The solution to, you know, re-establishing the natural ecology of the area is not necessarily to poison everything and then plant natives. Just let nature do what it wants and things will happen. No one's planted these trees, I guarantee it. This is a wasteland right next to the river. See if I can go through here, it's a bit thick. Maybe not. Go this way. So the bush is so thick that I struggle to get through it really. People just dump their crap here. There's cushions and clothes and random pots and all sorts of stuff. I'm a bit stuck here, see if I can get this way. There's a cherry seedling there. Right in the middle of the bush here. This isn't all native bush, this is all sorts of plants growing. But people just dumping all their crap here. This is another little poto. Just leave nature to it, eh? And if it's not a native, just leave it anyway. By the way, most of these trees have just finished blossoming. See the blossom there? All these cherry trees are going to be covered in cherries soon. There's a dead one. That's natural selection, some of them die. That one will fall down and it will feed the rest of the soil. Brindle, this way. Come on, boy. Here's gorse here. Better spray it. If you sprayed that, you would kill the tree behind it. It's the same, in my opinion, with 1080. If you just go around, oh, for those people who don't know, in New Zealand what they do is they're trying to eradicate pests, you know, possums and rats and stoats, because they think they're wiping out all the birds. And what they do is they go around with a helicopter and drop industrial amounts of poison into the forests all across New Zealand, into the native forests. They wouldn't do it here. By the way, there's freaking heaps of bird life in there. And try and kill all the what am I trying to say? Try and kill all the pests. And the problem with that theory is that you will also kill the native birds, because if you put food on the ground, the native birds will eat it. And then you kill off a large number of them. And then what species do you think is going to recover quicker? The birds or the rats or the possums? Of course, the invaders, because they're a successful species. See that pipe? That pipe is going to go all the way to the dairy factory. It's a big pipe and it's going to go all the way out to sea. And the council have decided that the dairy factory can pump out all their poisonous chemicals that they produce, their byproduct or whatever you want to call it, into the sea. Something like 8 kilometers off sea, or someone told me, I think it was 8 kilometers or 800 meters, I'm not too sure. And I mean, come on guys, like what the hell? That's, and apparently one of the reasons that the council have approved it is because dairy company have decided to, Brendel, come, have decided to contract in Westroads, which is a council-owned company, to construct it, meaning it's going to be a multi-million-dollar contract probably. I don't know all the facts on this is just what I've been told. So, you know, it seems more of a coincidence to me than, you know, at the end of the day, Westroads is going to get a massive contract. These guys can get rid of all their toxic waste into the sea. So the council approves it. All of this area here, it's not a reserve. This is just derelict land along the river, because it's unsafe to have houses here, and it's freaking pumping with life. This is how life should be. I guess my point is, there's no need to poison all the land. When you talk about 1080 with people in New Zealand, it can be a real touchy subject. A lot of people are for it. Most people are for it, I suppose. I'm totally against it. And most people say, well, what's your alternative? Well, if you put all the money that you put into 1080 and use that as an incentive for people to go out and trap in the bush, trap that specific animal, target that animal, that will work. That will keep their numbers down. A lot of people say that won't work, but guess what? Brendel, stay! Brendel, stay! Ah, didn't even listen to me. Brendel, come. It's alright. But guess what? 1080 has been used for 60 years. 60 years. And Doc claims that the birds are not regenerating fast enough, so that's why they keep on poisoning the area. If you have come up with a solution for something and it hasn't worked after 60 years of use, do you think that solution is working? I mean, any sane person would say clearly not. 60 years is a freaking long time. Yeah. I just get a little bit frustrated for these things, all the chemicals and poisons that are used, all the farmers poison all the gorse, and if you work with the land, it's not necessary to do that. A lot of them say, well, what do you do about the seeds? You have to spray that. Well, I've discovered that chickens will go along the ground and eat all of the seeds. And if you do have sprouts growing back, that's when you get some goats. And goats will sort that out for you. And if you're really worried about the roots, pigs. Pigs will root out the gorse. But as I said, if you actually cut it close to the ground and cover it over, it won't grow back. It's very sensitive to shade. I guess I'm just ranting here now, but just leave nature to it. That's basically my point. I mean, the abundance of that little bit of woodland there, whatever you want to call it, scrub, it's basically a food forest. There's heaps of food in there. No one's planted any of that. Anyway, that's enough of a rant today. It's a lovely day in Hokitika, and I hope everyone has a good day wherever you are in the world. See ya.